What is going on? I'm Zedmott, and this is War Factory. We have not done War Factory in a long minute, so we're going to walk through it with a low-level account, then a high-level account, and then a second high-level account for something different to do. Now, if you're looking for a sneak peek tomorrow, there's a huge problem. The dev build is offline, and the community manager is on vacation, so I don't know. You'll have to subscribe and find out. Devs, if you're out there, please help. That is where we'll start on this video. Then we're going to load Miss Everspark. And I wasn't going to make a video today, but the devs do watch, so I figured I would use this as my bat signal. We're going to have a look at the War Factory. And looks fairly reasonable. And some of you might be saying, you consider this reasonable? And yes, that right-hand side looks fairly open. We're going to get over there eventually, I think, or maybe we'll just get rid of those rockets. You know what? Let's just use our artillery on those rockets. I tell you guys every single time, do make sure that you max your artillery and your barrage as soon as you get a new headquarters level, and I'll show you why in a second. As we send Miss Everspark in here, we are going to hack that shock launcher, and that's going to be all we're going to do with that GBE. We're going to throw the rest of our GBE back here towards these rocket launchers, and I probably have a little bit more GBE than you do at headquarters level 18, but you can also farm some stuff over here. And the reason why I have more GBE than you at headquarters level 18 is because I don't have any resource reward statues. And if you have Power Stone Chance statues, you probably want to ditch those. But I also have less BP than you by almost certainly, unless you can figure out a way to get negative. Anyways, we are going to get rid of those rockets, and I still haven't decided which way we're going to go. My gut says go right, but those flotsams really do concern me. But you know what? Let's just do it anyways. We're going to send Everspark way wide right. We're going to get all of these Zuka ladies going. And then we're just going to see if we can't do some form of damage around those flotsams. I think as soon as our critters start to walk forward, I'm going to send Everspark to go get that boom cannon, and then we can kind of just shock some things, and Everspark should help us get rid of at least a couple of those flotsams. I think I need to keep the shocks going because those flotsams have so much health. It is redonkulous. And now we can get away from there. We've gotten rid of 2 of them. And then same deal, letting our critters go forwards and shocking those things. Every time we get near, you know what, let's send our heavies over just because. Every time we get close to one of these things, we're going to have to do the old pull-out maneuver because we don't have Kavan. If you have Kavan, you can use his ice shield. You probably do want to do that on this War Factory. And you know what? In fact, just bring Kavan, and every time one of those explodes, you can just click that ice shield button, and you don't have to worry at all. Way better than zooming in and zooming out. And now that that is dead, let's throw a barrage over here and a barrage over here. And we're just going to clear some mines. And we've cleared most of the right-hand side. And for those of you who are like, why the heck did you just retreat? The whole point here is to use as few troops as possible. And by retreating, our shock costs go down. We only lost 1 Zuka, 1 heavy, and now we're back to good. Would I replace my heavies if I had the opportunity? Yes. But again, another goal of this is to make it viable for people who do not have instant training. So these heavies are just going to die. They will help a little bit around that shock blaster potentially, and they'll also help a little bit around the core, maybe going forwards and pushing on into this stuff. No concerns there as far as crushing all of this stuff. Wasting a shock to keep those heavies alive, probably, because we don't really care if they die or not. And now I'm going to send my troops all the way back into here, and we'll just walk forwards towards that guy right there. I am going to flare a little bit closer because I don't want my troops to spread left. And then once we get close, we'll throw that that flare out. And shock blaster is going to hit a heavy for a second, and then we can pull out yet again. You're getting a theme here. And I'm just going to use every last bit of my GBE on this mortar down here. It's not really going to be a giant concern, but just to get as far from that Doom Cannon as we can, we're going to head a little bit south. Zuka's outranging the microwaver, and all is good in the world, and we'll just throw an artillery right about there just to get a little bit of extra gunboat energy. And then you knew exactly what was coming. We're going to retreat, and sadly, we're going to retreat through all of the boom mines, which was not ideal, especially when we could have flared first, but that is not a giant concern. And now, speaking of, this is where, if you want to be super cautious, you go in right now. I am going to replace these guys with some riflemen. That's going to get us a couple extra troops for those Doom Cannons to shoot at. But we're not going to spend the diamonds. I think we should be able to finish this off without spending diamonds, so that is exactly what we are going to do. Spending our barrages instead, getting rid of that mortar. Obviously, if we had the opportunity to throw critters, we would throw critters on these mines, but we are a low headquarters level 18, so we don't have critters. And that is a giant factor when it comes to clearing the war factory. Anytime there's a hot pot or a bunch of mines, being a max level and having critters is so much more useful. But alas, that is not the option for us. Yes, you should rush your headquarters, and that is yet another reason why you should do it, because critters, heroes, events, do rush your headquarters as quickly as you can. It gives so much benefit, and there is no downside to rushing your headquarters at all. As we try and keep that shock going, we're going to click that hack button, and then once Everspark gets close-ish, we'll maybe have to do one more hack. But for the second, Everspark doing some decent things for us. Let's get our artilleries down here. And now it's going to be, we don't have any GBE. So we are going to watch all of our Zukas get roasted by those mortars. So we do have a tiny little kill zone. And we've got a couple Zukas in there, but it's not going to be enough. There's no point retreating right now. We have done a halfway decent job, but that was part of my concern about going right, is that there's just so much space. There's so little space where we can do anything. And so now I am going to have to spend those diamonds. After quickly scrolling around on my, I don't have any diamond chests on my archipelago. That's a bit of a strange one. Anyways, we have loaded up our troops. This one looks difficult, but like I said, as far as those flotsams, ice shields will keep your troops alive. It's a weird little mechanic that is not used a heck of a lot. There's a couple hits on duplexity where that becomes super handy. Otherwise, ice shields doesn't really do a heck of a lot for you, but with flotsams, it is a giant advantage. So we're going to send these guys into here. And do rifles actually help us on this one? I'm going to say no. They are going to get a little bit extra shot by those sniper towers, but let's be honest, not doing a heck of a lot of good for us. And now that Everspark's gotten rid of that mortar, we can pull out yet again and get our troops onto there. And now 3x mode should work out for us as our troops burn that core. Headquarters level 18. Done. SOS done. And now, you know what? Let's get on to something a little bit more fun, shall we? And that, of course, is all riflemen all the time. And we will use that ice shield just to show you what I'm talking about. And your ice shield doesn't have to be maxed, by the way. Just tick 1 is all you need. And what we're going to do is just drop all of our life leech dudes into here. And one of the good things about these flotsams is that there's no, actually, you know what? We need to get rid of those rocket launchers first. Otherwise, what's going to happen is those rocket launchers are going to wreck our health. And then the whole point of Kavan. I said we're going to have to, let's get all of our troops into here so that Kavan actually does some good. And then as those things explode, you'll see right about there that you don't lose your troops to those flotsams. You are going to have to use all sorts of these things as far as the number of ice shields, and we're going to have to click it twice in quick succession, but still pretty darn neat as far as how that works. And now we're out of GBE, so we're going to have to get the heck away without Kavan dying. And so I said we wouldn't have to do the old seesaw maneuver, but then there it was yet again, because Kavan's ice shield does get fairly expensive fairly quickly. And now I have flared away, and we are just going to watch all of our dudes die. We do have life leech, but just not the right troops for microwavers and flotsams and rocket launchers and all of the rest. Could we have soloed this in another way? Most definitely, but now we're going to have to watch Kavan try to run back to the landing craft. So definitely don't think that life leech rifles are the answer. They're the answer for a lot of things, but definitely not for this war factory. Laser, out of sync. And so what happens when you reload your boats too quickly and then attack? The troops aren't fully in there. So yes, we should have 29 in there, but then you click attack and you've got like 21, but the game thinks there's 29. So if you have instant training, you have to be a little bit cautious. That's a known bug, I think. And I sent an SOS to the devs to start this video. There is your second SOS, devs. Please fix that. Because as you saw there, we just lost an attack. And do I care about the shock launcher? Not really. Definitely care about those microwavers, though. Don't know that we need to care about the flamethrower, but we'll throw a shock anyways. And then just walking through all of this stuff, we are going to have that hot pot pop in a second. So we're going to get that early critter out. And this is where critters are super useful. I have no plan of attack here, by the way. If you're wondering when I'm going to do something fancy, I don't have a plan. These guys do not have a lot of health, or a lot of range, I should say. So we're just kind of wandering in, and might as well get rid of this Doom Cannon back here with all of our barrage, because otherwise we're just going to get wrecked anyways. And we have left the Doom Cannon with like 1 health. So now that that's done, maybe we can park about here and then fast forward our way through something. Just burning the core as our rifles are getting picked off. And because we got rid of that Doom Cannon, we managed to get a little free snipe spot here. Questionable content, my friends. Questionable. And speaking of questionable, on this account, I only have like level 1 rocket choppas. I have not been maxing the rocket choppas on this account. I was hiding this account during warships, and then Rudero came out. So if you look in here, I don't even have Rudero yet. I've gotten 1 whole clue. So the whole Rudero 10 clue thing, giant pain in the butt, and I probably should use laser rangers because they're way more fun, but we're going to go rocket choppas and Everspark with some critters, and we'll just see how this goes. I have no idea if flotsams can shoot rocket choppas or if their explosion hits the air. I feel like they don't, so that might be a good reason to use rocket choppas. The flotsams, the shock launcher, the microwavers all can't see rocket choppas as far as I know, so this should be a good example of troops to use, I feel like. But we got, and also those mortars don't see them, so we're doing decent things, I think. But the fact that we've got tick 1 rocket choppas not really doing us any favors as far as getting onto those boom cannons or regular cannons. And those flotsams are just wrecking all of our critters. So once we get rid of this cannon and this boom cannon, we should be in pretty good shape, I think, but definitely a bit of a stress to get there. We've used basically all of our shocks, all of our GBE, and now Everspark, is lying dead underneath all of those rocket choppers. So now we're just going to get over into here. And you know what? Let's just go straight for that guy right there. Need to get rid of that boom cannon. And now we should be in decent shape because nothing can hit our choppers. And this is where flying troops make such a world of a difference. I love rocket choppers. They're going to be great on this upcoming Mega Crab in case you haven't seen my sneak peek. And look at this, we're just cruising through this. We lost one rocket chopper, and that was because we flared the boom cannon without a shock. And so what we're going to do next is probably lose a couple more as we flare that shock blaster back there, but I don't really know what else could be done. So we're just going to drop some critters and get going, and those critters are going to help distract those sniper towers as well as that shock blaster tries to ruin my day. And then we're going to do one more pullout, and I think we're good now. 3 times mode definitely required. Rocket choppers are probably your best option for this war factory, just because of the fact that you can just clear as many things as possible without needing any sort of shocks because of their flying capabilities. So we're just going to sit on here and not going to be able to burn through that. But that was no planning, no logic, just dropping troops, and that's kind of how things go once you get instant training. I've said this before, and I'll say it again, but instant training is a bad thing if you want to become a skilled player. That's a little bit wonky and a little bit strange to say, but the fact is, as soon as you can get all of your troops back, like, you're not worried about gold, you're not worried about resources, you can just clear through everything and then click that reload button. I wish you could almost like disable the reload button, as silly as that sounds, because you just end up using ridiculous troops, having lots of fun, but you kind of lose out on some skill opportunities. And I feel like the OG Boom Beach players that didn't have the luxury of instant training got a little bit better as a result. And maybe that's just me being trying to make the fact that I've played for a long time justified or something like that. But that's where I'm at as far as how I think of Boom Beach. Do let me know if you agree or disagree, or you're somewhere in the middle. And now we're just going to go 3 times mode as our low damage. It's because they're level 1. Rocket choppers burn through that core bit by stinking little bit with those critters to distract the doom cannon. And that's it for me. Bit of a weird video, but like I said, wasn't going to publish one, but wanted to try to send the bat signal out there for the devs. And let's be honest, War Factory does not get the attention that it deserves from me or from the devs. A little bit of a pot shot there. Hope that War Factory is on their list of things to improve. Cycle of Evil, they've definitely changed up how Dr. T works. Whether that was an improvement or not is still up for debate. But that is all from me. Do stick around. Hopefully I have some sneak peeks coming for you in the next couple days. And if not, then there will be plenty of time for my favorite sound effect. I'm Zedmott. Thanks for coming in. Peace.